like, you know, the accountability, the leadership, how practices are run, all that sort of stuff. And he talked about it, I guess, before the season in an interview or whatever, his analysis show, and basically just said, you know, in the NFL, nobody's bad. Like, nobody's a bad football player. Like, you don't get to the NFL by being a bad football player. Everybody's there is good. He used Alex Smith as a reference. He's like when people used to say Alex Smith was a bad player coming out of Utah, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he's literally the best player I've ever seen at that time. And he was like, but it just takes culture. You know, some guys aren't in the right fit. Some NFL teams are always winning and others are always losing because of culture. So essentially what Urban Meyer does and has been known to do is, you know, really hires a good coaching staff to really make sure that culture is instilled all across the board. And I don't know, what do you think? Do you think that is enough to hold up in the league?
I don't care how much NFL talent you've produced if you've never actually done it at the level where all your NFL talent is either a bust or they worked out. I don't really see how this dude gets a head coaching opportunity over coaches who've been waiting for a long time to get an opportunity, let alone black coaches who've been waiting a long time to get an opportunity. Okay,
but that's not really fair because Urban Meyer is actually qualified. He's been a college football head coach for a long time. How is he qualified
to be an NFL head coach? Arguably he would have been better than Nick Saban had he stayed in college. That's how great he is. But let's just look at some of the players he's coached who flamed out. Tebow,
there's plenty of them.
Hernandez. Like, come on.
Brissett. Like a bunch of Ohio State linebackers and D tackles.
A couple Ohio State corners.
So, yeah, there's no doubt about that. But
like,
I'm just saying,
because you're a great recruiter and can galvanize young 18 to 22-year-olds doesn't mean you can galvanize grown men after they've seen you do things that were suspect at the college level.
Yeah, but you're the first person to point out the politics behind the college football.
Yeah,
just
but
in general.
There's like 4 coaches
all above. The bullshit in college football.
But there's like 4 coaches above that. Saban, Dabo, Meyer at one point, and then the 4th, honestly, you could just say almost any Texas coach because Texas has so much money. But you can't sit up here and say, okay, what about Urban Meyer specifically tells you he's a better head coach right now, 2 years removed from football. He's ready for the NFL 2 years removed from not coaching.
He's won everywhere he's been. He was an assistant in the NFL for a long time before he went to coaching in the college ranks.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, there's probably some OCs up who deserve that interview and all that, but also you can't overlook all the experience he has in college and just be like, oh, that's college. No, that's actually still something. That's actually still a lot more than half of these fucking offensive and defensive coordinators will ever accomplish, a la Gus Bradley, a la
I feel that. No.
A la all these other coordinators who have flamed out after 3 or 4 years and are never given a fucking head coaching job again because guess what? They probably should have never got that first one. Because guess what? They're just X's and O's guys who just know football, which is good.
What's his name?
But you can't be a fucking head coach.
Freddie Kitchens? Off that. I get what you're saying, but I also have to factor in, like, dude, you're 2 years removed from the college game. You haven't been coaching, and you're going to jump in the NFL?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's a huge monumental leap. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are a trash franchise, and they're run poorly. How do you be on the doorsteps of a Super Bowl to oblivion?
And that's what I'm saying, though, too, is, like, he also deserves credit. As much jokes we get off about Urban Meyer, like, he's operated in chaos before plenty of times. That's something he can do in the NFL. And to the SI article, the reason why I brought it up is just to say, I'm pretty sure that's Izzy. Hi,
Hello,
Izzy.
caller. Is this Izzy? Yeah, it's Izzy.
Okay.
You're not
Hit
on
the keyboard
Zoom.
twice if you're on there.
Yell out Vince Staples if this is Izzy.
What?
Never mind.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, to the initial article I brought up, you know, that's what I'm trying to say is he hasn't been away from the game. He's still been engaged with the game. He's still been around the game. So it's not just like, oh, he's just been fucking sitting on the couch doing a podcast.
No, it's different. It's like
no, I mean it is different than coaching, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, you can't just write off everything.
He's kept himself hungry. Like it's like you go to a buffet, you don't get a big plate, but you get you get a salad. You stick around the table. You weren't really that hungry, and then you find like, all right, let me go get a plate of food. Like for real. Like that's what he was doing, and I get it. But it's different from like a Pete Carroll situation where Pete Carroll was at the height and the pinnacle of his success at USC and then jumped.
He was at the apex. The wheels were falling off.
We're not okay. We can do a whole.
We're gonna
podcast.
get back. We're gonna get to that when we get to Seattle. Don't worry.
We're
gonna get to that.
Whole
We're gonna get to that.
podcast on how the NCAA had it out for USC's dynasty, and if USC's dynasty never falls, Alabama is not heard of.
That's
The whole SEC benefited.
That's
from
part
USC
of it.
getting taken
That's
down.
part of it, but that wasn't
on.
the only thing going on at USC.
Come on,
That wasn't the only thing going on at USC.
Okay, he could have had a
We'll
chance.
get to that. We'll get to that.
We're
when
still
we get to
winning Rose
Seattle.
Bowls.
Just let's finish up
all right.
Urban Meyer.
Cool. Bottom line is with Urban Meyer, I think it could work out. I just wouldn't pick Jacksonville as my first play. I mean, yeah, you're going to decide between Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, which is great. But
Herb put Lawrence over Fields, by the way.
I would take Lawrence for that team. If I'm the Vikings, I'm trading up and taking Fields. Because that offense, like, that fits like an offense that they already have a running back, they have receivers. You need a guy who's a difference maker at the position. Fields is perfect for that. If you're going to put everything on the Fields out the gate, it's kind of detrimental to his success. It's like if you put everything on Herbert, it would have been detrimental to his success. You kind of just got to let him figure out things and let his talent and his work ethic eventually sow himself into the offense. Trevor Lawrence is just a blue chip prospect. Like, he's gonna be the guy. Like, it was child's play at Clemson this year. So you factor that in. Yeah, he's a perfect fit for Jacksonville, and they can move as he moves, and they have to build around him.
So on a tangent, but not totally unrelated.
Coach's commentary.
You mentioned Lawrence, and you know the cakes he's had the past 2 years. Really,
Did you just say cakes?
yeah, the cakewalk.
First off,
For plural.
Wow, pause.
Anyways, let me get back to what the fuck I'm saying.
Notre
before I
Dame's
forget.
trash, but pause.
Okay, with fucking Tua, right? Tua came out after having basically
That's
a
a
year and a half
cakewalk.
off, having a year and a half off because of injuries, and they just didn't need him.
That's a cake, bro. You talking
Okay.
about an Alabama player? That's a cakewalk.
So with that, now there's questions, reports after Miami made the switch in that second to last game to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they still didn't end up making the playoffs. But the Dolphins now are reportedly there's players in the locker room not convinced about Tua, that he has the talent to get it done. So do you think this past year of basically Lawrence not being challenged as much as maybe he should, do you think that hurts his development somewhat, maybe as it hurt Tua?
They're just mad, and I think it's cowardly to do that. Like, you should just come out and say it. It's either speak bad about the dude, because Ryan Patrick is at the end of his career. He ain't going to get you much. So, like, yeah, you want to win right now, but your ceiling is 11 wins. You ain't beating nobody in the playoffs like that. So I think the fact that they have a great defense and a nucleus that they're building around, they're expecting more out of Tua, But it's like, yeah, bro, he almost could have lost his life had that hip injury gone another way. Like, the fact that he defied the odds, you should give him about 2 years. Like, he deserves some leeway. And honestly, the coaches...
But that's where the rub is. But that's where the rub is, right?
They were
because
purposely
you have
conservative. They didn't
you
let
have
him
this
throw
high talented prospect and who's a blue chip from all the things that you said about Lawrence. Blue chip.
He's not on the level of Lawrence.
He's close.
No, he's not.
He's pretty close.
Pre-injury, probably.
Yeah.
Post, no.
But that's what I'm saying.
Lawrence
so like
6'6" and probably runs a 4.6. And has,
so that's where the rub is. It's like, yeah, you're saying this dude's the guy, but then he's also dealt with injury, so
and he has way
we
better
don't really
hair.
know. Like
Trevor has way better hair. Come on, that's tickets. He's selling.
He should shave it.
Damn, you like that journalist who said that he needs to shave his mustache because they called her on the mic. They called her on the mic.
I just feel like it would be a fun switch up.
He got to get the buzz cut.
he probably got a big ass head over there.
He's gonna pull the sunshine like in the
Remember the Titans?
Yeah, he could probably do it. But we saw Herbert and he got a haircut and he looked like a baby. He looked like Sid from Toy Story. But
these are legitimate questions that are going on about Lawrence right now. Whether it's the last year, kind of walking through it. And also dealing with COVID, so
his best example is that
is he really gonna be the guy like we expect him to be?
Bro, he was
he'll be
All-American damn near as a freshman. Just look at his freshman numbers and how he beat the dog shit out of an Alabama team that had a bunch of first rounders on it. He did that as a freshman.
Won a ring as a freshman too.
No. That Alabama team was loaded, bro. And they played Georgia in the national title game. Get out of my face. That's a null and void championship. That shit shouldn't even count. How you gonna use politics to exclude? Like, Georgia lost. They should have never been in that title game. I don't care if Alabama would have beat everybody else by 50. Like, that SEC bias is ridiculous. So I'm not even counting that championship against Georgia, which all they did was choke.
You have a Trevor Lawrence. We have a Trevor Lawrence simp.
Yeah, for real. You're a hardcore simping.
When it comes to Clemson versus Bama,
really.
I'm taking Lawrence. I think Lawrence is better than Hurts and better than Tua, and he was better than both of them as an 18-year-old freshman. Like, bro threw 30 touchdown passes as a freshman, and they dominated. They dominated Bama in that title game in California. So, fast forward 2 years later, he's junior. And he's making it look easy. And you have Travis Etienne back there. I just think he'd be a great fit. But with Miami, it's wrong for them to throw two under the bus because I think they really want Deshaun Watson. And that team wants to win now. Because you've got a lot of guys, some of their best players are, in their 5th, 6th, 7th year. They want to win now. And they feel like they've got something with Brian Flores. So they don't want Tua holding them back. But, Tua has to... He's either going to be your guy or you're going to just make him a game manager. But you got to be careful because if you're going to do that and you're going to stifle his growth, then you should trade him somewhere else. You should go get Deshaun Watson. Otherwise, let Tua earn it and stop trying to protect him from himself. Because you're going to end up ruining Tua and Fitzpatrick, whatever you have left. If you don't put it all in on Tua. If you're not going to put it all in on Tua, then trade him for Watson. Otherwise, coming out and saying that only makes y'all look worse. Because let's be honest, is the receiver, Devontae Parker, is he a top 10 receiver?
Maybe 20, 30.
I was going to say that, exactly. And he was a first-round pick, right?
Yeah.
And what much has he done?
Yeah, 1,000-yard receiving.
Did he even go over 1,000 this year? Gesicki was damn near their best receiver when they threw him the ball. And then the running game was a mishmash. Let's not act like this was a jailbreaking offense. Tua...
83 receptions for 800 yards and 4 TDs.
Disgusting. That's bust-worthy.
14 games.
And what?
11 starts.
9.7 yards a catch?
12.